This is the back of a t-shirt, and I wanted to transfer it to the back of one of my sweaters. Okay, what I did next was I found the center, which in this case it was a nice setup because it was the center was the basketball line. So that's what I'm using as the center. And then I match the top of these letters to the top of the letters on there. You can see them like that. What I'm wanting to do is just make a circle. You can take a string and fasten it here and then use the string to do a pencil. If you have a compass, that's what I used. And I went out to the furthest part where my cut was. And you plant the base of it here, like right here. And then you come here and you just swivel. Swivel all the way around like that. And that gives you this line. It's not very dark. I didn't want it real dark. And now what I'm going to do is cut around that circle. I'm going to pin around the edge here just so it'll stay in place when I cut it, that it doesn't move too much. So I'm just going to secure it. That's the only reason I'm doing this, is to secure it in place tidy. What's that noise?
The phone.
Oh, okay. Let's see what we have now, shall we? Okay. Hopefully it'll be a nice shape. I think that'll work. That's fine. Look at there. See what I'm using to put this onto my sweater here. I'm using what's called transfer web. This is by Pellon, and I'm sure I know there are lots of different brands, and the instructions are on here. It comes like this. It's kind of hard. I don't know. I hope you can see this. It's a big sheet, and this is just strictly the paper to protect it. But here's what's gonna. Can you see that?
It's like a little fine mesh.
It's
like
a very
softener
fine mesh. Very thin dryer sheet's what it looks like. But that's sort of a glue that you're going to melt with your iron. It's more like a parchment paper to protect it. And I've got a whole bag of them. Here's another one. That one's called Heat Bond Light. The lightweight fusible iron-on adhesive for sewing projects, machine appliques, lightweight fabric and materials. It's washable and dry cleanable.
So you get like Joann's or Hobby Lobby or...
Yeah, Joann's, Hobby Lobby, arts and crafts stores. Okay, I've got my iron set on a high.
I'm using parchment
the
paper
highest setting,
to
almost.
protect my
You want a
ironing
high, you
board.
don't want any steam, so a high dry setting. I've just got the sheet of the webbing laid flat, and I want to trace around it so I can cut it out now. Okay, I've decided that I needed to pin down my circle onto this webbing sheet just to make sure I keep it in place. So now I'm going to go around . Yeah, we've got a pretty good outline there now. So now we're going to cut. I think you can see where I'm going to be cutting now. Okay. You almost need that back thread. I save these little scrap pieces because I don't know, I might use them for something else, for an art project. That's that. Now I'm going to leave this paper down.
I pressed
I'm going to take my
t-shirt material so it was nice and flat. And then
material
I'm
that I want to transfer.
webbing, circular webbing over the top of the transfer that I'm going to be doing. So just line up the edges around that circle. Now you want to take a second piece of parchment paper and lay that over the top of the t-shirt material and the webbing, the two circles, and that will protect your iron.
Okay, now I've put the paper over the top of the mesh, which is on top of the material that I'm going to be using for transfer. So what we're doing now is a very hot iron, dry iron. You don't want it, and you iron it for about 8 seconds. You want to go over it until it's all sealed for a total of about 8 seconds, but this is an awfully big piece, so I'm probably going to do it longer than 8 seconds. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Okay. All right. See? Yeah, we're going to let it cool. Okay, now we're going to just peel this off. Okay, so now, there you are. Now there's a couple of little places here, see that right there, then where I wasn't able to see what I was cutting, so I need to trim that up a bit. But that will, I don't care if there's a little bit of an overhang. I just don't want that big of a piece. So I'll look around the entire edge and cut that off. If there's any big pieces. Yeah, there's some more here. Okay. I'll trim those off. When we put it on the back of the jacket, it will also merge into that. And then what we do is sew around the edges just to make, I don't know that you'd have to, but I like to just to make it sure that it's secure. Okay. Okay. How's it looking? Now this is the sweater that I'm going to be putting it on the back of. Now what I need to do here is find the middle of this so I can line it up. And I know you could measure it and all, but my theory is that it's never seen on a galloping horse, and I'm pretty much of a galloping horse. So I just find the middle by putting the seams together. Okay, like so. Okay. Okay. I'm just going to do a light ironing just so it'll kind of show where the center is. You can see it right there's the middle. Okay, and I have the middle of my basketball that I can line it up with. Okay, I've got it positioned now where I want it. I'm going to cover it again with the paper, and now we're going to put it in place. Now this is where you want to go about 8 seconds. Again. Sorry. I'll sit in the chair. Would that be better? Is that what we're doing? Okay. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006, 1007, 1008. Okay. Bring it over and come on this side. Okay. Okay. Make sure it's level. Okay. Okay. Okay, now I'm just making sure that it's in there good and solid. I think it probably is. Okay, now I'm just sewing around the edge. I've got it set on zigzag, the wide stitch, but a narrow, I've got it set on 1 with a zig of 4. And I'll probably go around it twice. Well, here's the finished project. And as you can see, I went around twice with the zigzag stitch and sealed it off. And I think it came out pretty nice. Now I have a nice jacket to wear to basketball games or football games or whatever my grandkids are going to be in. So, thank you. Enjoy.